So the Dallas Wings are now the highest valued franchise in the WNBA. And not only that, it just shows that, like, again, these teams, if you guys don't know, the WNBA gets 50% of all the NBA gets 50% of all revenue. The NBA, based on their new TV rights deal, will profit on the WNBA. By the end of this current TV rights deal, will have profit on the WNBA, and will also be gaining 40% of everything all WNBA teams from then on. But you're looking at the value of these teams. Again, for a non-profitable league, two investors bought 1% for $2 million. The Wings are valued at $208 million. The team was previously valued at $75 million in June. But not only that, you're looking at these teams. Like, this is the Dallas Wings we're talking about. This is not the Liberty. The Liberty are valued. If you offer Joe Tsai $300 million for whatever his controlling stake is for Liberty, he'd tell you no. I think you asked Matt Ishbia about the Mercury, he'd say no. Matt Ishbia just wants his sports teams for his playthings. So what's he going to do when the Phoenix Suns eventually fizzle out and they don't have a chance? He's going to try and get the Mercury. He's going to try and get Caitlin Clark to the Mercury. That's what he's going to do. He's going to try. He's an owner that I'd say will look after his players, but that's what he's going to try to do. But yeah, it is just an interesting thing. And it's just talking about the value of these teams. A lot of people are like, oh, how does a team have value when, they obviously, they don't make profit. But at the end of the day, look, Chelsea Football Club doesn't make profit. Leeds United Football Club. Leeds United is valued at a couple of $100 million. We're not even in the Premier League. Chelsea doesn't make a profit and it's valued at $5 billion or something. But, you're looking at it, these teams, obviously the Fever were valued at $90 million. The Fever, again, if you tried to buy the Fever off Herb Simon, it would cost quadruple $90 million. Caitlin Clark being on your sports team is worth $90 million. The Wings were valued at $75 million. The Dream valued at only $55 million. But it's the Chicago Sky are valued at 95. Their revenue, again, people are saying, oh, the revenue is only $17.8 million for the Aces. Again, considering the fact that their overheads are definitely less than that. The Aces definitely profited, by the way. The Aces definitely profited in 2023 because they had other ways of obviously probably paying people under the table, but the salary cap's $1 million. The coach, Becky Hammond, probably makes $1 million. That's $2 million. There's probably money obviously in operations and everything. There is no way that the Aces made a loss last year. There is no way that the Storm at 17.6 mil made a loss last year. There's no way the Liberty made a loss last year. I think they play in Brooklyn and Joe Tsai owns the Nets, so if he owns the Barclays Center, they definitely made a profit last year. Unless he's doing some weird cooking the books to make sure they made a loss, as in just some creative accounting to make sure that every company's made a loss. Either way, I think it's such a dumb thing to be oh, these teams just don't make any money, when the reality is that the value of these teams is going higher and higher. The Indiana Fever being valued at $90 million is a severe undervalue. That is a severe undervalue from what I've seen. And from, just based on their pure, their numbers, they have nearly 1 billion impressions in 3 months on all their stuff. And, again, 1 billion impressions is a lot. I've seen, there are media companies that don't, not even media companies, there are, sports teams that don't get nearly the traction of the Indiana Fever that are worth 10 times what the Indiana Fever are. There are sports teams that don't sell tickets, don't sell merch, don't sell anything, even close to the level of the Indiana Fever, and they're valued 10 times more. So, yeah, that is just kind of crazy, where I think we can finally put to bed the whole WNBA is not profitable. The NBA, who only get 40% of the revenue, will have profited off that 40% in a few years Their investment will lead to these NBA teams making hundreds of millions on top of what they've already made. Yeah, the league is significantly more profitable than the MLS. The league is significantly more profitable than the Football League Championship. The league's significantly more profitable than, ironically, I think you could argue it's significantly more profitable than the Premier League for most teams. I'm trying to think what Premier League teams make profit. Maybe Manchester United. But it's only because, again, Scum are probably the biggest team in the country. Liverpool, maybe because their owners are frugal. They might make profit. I know for a fact Chelsea don't. I know for a fact like Manchester City don't. And I know for a fact as a Leeds United fan, we lost hundreds of millions of pounds in that league. So, yeah. And it is, again, if people are willing to pay $2 million for 1% stake, I would have thought you could have got more for more than 1%. But I don't think with that little money you're getting more than 1% in any team. You're getting more than a tiny stake in any team, because look, these owners realize, people that are own any percentage of these teams, they realize that it's only going one way and it's only going up. Like if you own a little bit now, with the way that these teams are going to be valued, especially if Paige Becker's as good as advertised, if a few of these players are as good as advertised, you're going to be making a damn fortune off the like ownership of these teams. Especially if you're getting in as a minority owner now, who knows? Like I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 or 4 years, 200 million is the least valued team in the WNBA, because we've seen it in the MLS. When David Beckham, he had a clause that he could get a team, I think was it for 20 million, once his career ended. And at that stage, 20 million was more than a new franchise. But when he wanted to buy the team, or Inter Miami, get them as a franchise in, the franchising cost was 500 million. Whereas 20 million 12 years earlier was more than a franchise. 12 years on, with less viewership in the WNBA, it was 500 million. So you can see that. This league is now going to probably become a thing where rich owners use teams as their playthings. And once that happens, these teams are going to be worth 300-400 million. So quickly. So quickly. You're not going to see them into the billion, but 300-400 million for whatever team Caitlin Clark's on, for the Aces, for the Liberty, I think is going to be on the low end in a couple of years. By a couple, maybe 6 or 7 years. So anyway, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.